All right, good morning. We are going to be doing adding integers today. We're going to do a little bit of recalling back from yesterday's and the day before's lessons when we talked about integers, positive integers, negative integers, absolute value, and opposite integers. All right, you will need a red and yellow colored pencil. So make sure you have that out because we are going to be doing a little bit of coloring. All right, adding integers. Integers like 3 and -3 are called what on a number line? Now think before you answer this question. If I have 3 on the left side and -3 on the left side and 3 on the positive side, those two numbers are considered to be what? Opposites. Very good. They are opposites because they are the same distance. And distance is what? Distance?
Absolute value.
Very good. They are the same distance from 0, but on opposite sides. That's your key word. If they're the same distance and they're on opposite sides, then they are opposites. If they are just the same distance, then they are what? Distance?
Absolute value.
Very good. Two integers that are opposites. So my 3 and -3. Here's a new vocabulary word. So whenever you're going home today, you get to tell your parents of yet another new vocabulary word that you learned about, and that is called a zero pair. So when you're sitting in that car and your parents go, "What'd you learn today?" Instead of saying nothing, you can say, "I learned about 0 pairs." Okay? All right, a 0 pair. If I break down this word, 0 pair, does everybody know what 0 is?
Yes.
Right? That's the big fat oval 0 on my number line, right?
Yes.
Remember, it's not a negative nor is it a positive. It's just 0. A pair means what? 2, right? If I told you you can work in pairs, you know it's going to be you and one other person, correct? Because a pair is 2. So a 0 pair is 2 integers that equal 0. All right, so let's think about this. 2 integers that equal 0. So, in my color counters here, I have a negative. So red is considered to be my negative, and I have a white. Okay. When we start coloring, we are going to use red for negative and white for positive. So I have a negative and a positive. Together, they make 0 because they cancel each other out. I always like to use, because 6th grade is always all about the whole, woo, we have a dance, woohoo, yeah. So you go to your first dance, junior high dance, and in the corner you have one group, and they're all girls. Let's say we had 10 girls in the group. Clear across the room is a group of 10 boys. And nobody dancing in the middle, right? So, if I'm gonna pair them up and make there be a boy and a girl, because those are opposite genders, right? Opposite integers, and I pair them up. I take a girl and I take a boy and I've paired them up. Yes? I take a negative and a positive and pair them up. And they go off and dance. If I have 10 girls on one side and 10 boys on the other, how many pairs can I make?
5.
Try again. I have 10 girls and I have 10 boys. How many?
10.
I can make 10 pairs. Yes?
Yes.
Right? All right. Do you know that when a magnet, when you take a magnet, the reason why it adheres and sticks to metal is because of the charges, and one's a negative and one's a positive, and those together, that's what makes them stick, because their positive and negative energy connects to each other. So there's your little cross curriculum. Let's throw some science in there. So that being said, if I have a negative and a positive together, they make a what? Zero pair. This is how I like to remember it. Okay, make sure I can get it up here. So I've got a negative and a positive together. They make what number? Zero. So everybody do this. Negative, positive, together, they make zero. All right, so we had our little movement there. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a little coloring. So when we talk about our number chips, we said that negative was red. So let's go ahead and color in so that we can recognize negatives. And then our positive is yellow. So we have our nice little visual. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now, before we open our little adding integer book. Adding integers, especially integers of the same sign, is very easy, and you're not gonna want to have to do this modeling and things, but too bad, so sad. That's part of 6th grade. We start off easy, and then we'll work into some of the harder stuff. So just FYI. Okay, so let's go into our practice and our modeling that we are going to be doing here. All right, so our first one that we have is 4 plus 3. I am fully aware that every single one of you could tell me what 4 plus 3 is, and I don't want to see it. I know you know it. Okay. The reason why I chose to do one as easy as 4 plus 3 is because you already know what it's going to equal. So we don't have to worry about teaching you what it's going to equal. All I have to do is teach you how to show it. All right, so I'm going to first start with the color counters. Okay. So here I have 4 plus 3. Now when I'm doing integer operations, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to circle my 2 integers. So all of this that we are doing, we're only going to do it using 2 addendums. Addendums are the numbers that you're adding together. Okay. So I'm going to circle my 2 integers. And I'm circling them because it helps me visualize whether that is a negative number or a positive number. So both 4 and 3 are both what type of integers? Positive. So I'm going to go ahead and just color in using, and I'm only coloring it in so it has you a nice little visual. I've got 4 positives plus 3 positives. Are my signs on both of my addendums, are they the same or are they different?
The same.
Good. They are the same. It's easy to see that because both of them are shaded yellow, right? All right, now I'm going to move on to showing it. The very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to represent my very first number, which is 4 positives. So I'm going to shade in 4 positives. Now, to that 4 positives, I am going to be doing what to those 2, that positive? I'm going to be adding. So the very next row underneath it, I'm going to add whatever my second integer is. So I'm adding what? 3 what? 3 positives. And y'all are probably like, oh my goodness, Miss Armstrong, we did this in kindergarten and pre-K. You're right. You know how to add 4 and 3. But once we move on, you're going to see why it's important to be able to visualize this. All right. So did I make any 0 pairs out of that? No. I did not make any 0 pairs. So my answer is just what? 7. Right? Pretty easy. Easy peasy. All right. Now let's look at it, how I can represent this on the number line. And this is really important, being able to represent it on the number line, because this is how you are going to see it probably most often on test type questions. Okay? So, I always, did I say always? Yes. I always start at 0. My very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my first integer, which is what?
4.
A what type of 4? Positive 4. So I'm going to go to the right, 4. And then I stop and draw a little line there. That's kind of like my stop sign. So I started at 0 and I traveled to 4. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
All right. Now, from 4, I am going to continue which direction? Right. Because if I'm going positive, I'm going to the right. If I'm going negative, that's when I'm going to go to the left. So because this is a positive, I'm going to continue going to the right. How many spaces?
3.
3. 1, 2, 3. And I end at?
7.
Positive 7. So that is my answer. That means that my final answer is I'm at a stopping point and I am now at positive 7. Pretty cool, right? Not too bad. All right, let's look at this second one, which is negative 4 plus negative 3. I'm going to circle my integers so that I can see it. Now I'm going to, what type of integer is negative 4?
Negative.
Negative. So let's shade this one in. What color?
Red.
All right. And then I'm adding to it what type?
Negative.
A negative.
3.
All right. So now I can visually see that I have my, I'm adding integers with the same sign. Yes?
Yes.
All right. So we start with our first number and I'm going to shade in 4 negatives. And I'm adding to this 4 negatives, I'm adding 3 negatives. Did I make any 0 pairs? No. What am I left with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What? Negatives? 7. Does it matter if I put that negative?
Yes.
Absolutely, because if I didn't put that negative, I would assume that it is a what?
Positive.
Awesome. Okay, so let's check this out on a number line. I always start at what number?
0.
0. And this time I am going to go left. How many spaces?
4.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I stop. I'm adding to that.
3.
Which direction?
Left.
Left, how many spaces?
3.
1, 2, 3. I don't have any more, so I am done. What is my answer?
7.
-7. All right, I want you to do this last one on your own. And then I am going to, so that wraps up adding integers with the same sign. And then we'll go on to adding integers of different signs.